Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Stacy. I am Stress Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. This is my knitting video series vlog of what I am making. I love sharing what I'm making with you and love hearing what you're making as well in the comments. Today is July 19th and I'm coming to you from Detroit, Michigan, where I live with my husband Doug, our daughter Eliza, and our pug Esther. So I am so excited to share with you what I've been working on. I'm really excited. So without further ado, I talked a lot last week about my philosophy kind of moving forward with my making, which is trying not to focus as much on creating content for YouTube and social media, but really focusing on making garments and pieces that I love to wear and that I'm going to use. So with that, I've really slowed down my making and started focusing on a project at a time. For the most part, I am having a severe need to cast on quite a few projects. I have about 4 projects that I'm really itching to cast on soon. But before I do that, I want to finish this sweater I've been working on since my birthday. So this I cast on for my 30th birthday in February, and I'm still working on it. This is the Awilda sweater by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks, and I am using Diamond Lane Elmer, which is a yarn by the Linen Quill, and I am using, the main color is Cookies, and then the golden yellow is Goldenrod, this orange is Cinder, dial tone is the Scummy Green, there's this beautiful light pink that is Pirouette, and then Spritz is this, I don't even know how to explain it, this orangey pink coral salmon-y kind of color that I love. I finally finished the body of the sweater. Here it is. And I am knitting away on the sleeve, and this is where I wanted to be by the time I talked to you next. So I hit that goal and I'm very happy about it. These sleeves are going pretty well. There are a lot of decreases, and normally when I knit sleeves, I will mark a decrease with a stitch marker so that when I knit the other sleeve, I just move the stitch marker over so that I can keep track of where I'm at in the sleeve knitting process. But this one has quite a few decreases, and I'm talking about 40 decreases in the sleeve. There's a lot of stitches up here at the yoke. So I'm decreasing rather rapidly, and I don't want to put 40 stitch markers. I don't even know if I have 40 locking stitch markers. So I'm just going with it, and I will end up at the stitch count that is called for in the pattern. I love it. It is a fingering weight sweater though, so it's taking some time, and it's one of those things that I am just really trying to embrace the fact that it's taking time. I tried it on, it fits really well. I'm a little nervous about this like rippling situation that's happening. Oh, this is the back. Hold on. I gotta sew up some holes from the color work. But there's like some rippling happening here, and I don't want it to be too swingy. But I think blocking will fix the majority of that issue. And I also, what did I do? I tried it on with a pair of jeans and like did a little front tuck because I'm a millennial and that's what we do, right? And I really liked the way it fits. It really reminds me of the Easy V sweater by Caitlin Hunter, which I wear all of the time in the fall and the winter. So I'm excited to be working on the sleeves and knowing that I'm tantalizingly close to finishing the sweater. Sleeves don't take that long. I just started the sleeves today and I've already knit like 2 inches. So I feel pretty good about getting this done, hopefully in the next week or two. I I really love this project. The yarn is such a dream. I cannot wait to block it. I cannot wait to have it in a pile ready to go for when the weather turns chilly. Next. So I mentioned that I've been itching to cast on a lot of projects, and there has been a project that has been on my mind for a couple of years, and that is a temperature blanket for my daughter Eliza. Eliza just turned 6 last month, and I, a couple of years ago, cast on a temperature blanket. If you don't know what a temperature blanket, it is a crochet project that most people start the first day of a new year, so January 1st, and they knit it through December 31st, and they track certain things throughout the year. So the temperature blanket is usually the high temperature of the day, how hot it gets, and there are colors that coordinate with a certain temperature range, and so you have this beautiful multicolor blanket that tracks the weather the entire year. So I wanted to do that, but I am going to do it from the day Eliza was born to her first birthday. So that entire first year that Eliza was on Earth, I want to do a temperature blanket marking her first year of life. And I started this project a couple of years ago in Stress Knits yarn, my own hand-dyed yarn, in beautiful colors, but I used superwash DK, and it was bulky and heavy, and I got through like from June to October, and it was the size of a twin bed. It was way too big, and thinking I had to go through June of the next year, I was like, there's just no way. There's absolutely no way that this is gonna work out. So I frogged that project. It is no longer in this house. It is no longer in my life. I just could not, even like binding off, the colors recently started changing and it looked really weird. It didn't make sense to keep. So I put that project on hold, and I've been really thinking about what I can use, because I wanted to do a fingering weight version. A fingering weight version, casting on less stitches, and going from there. And so when I finished my Friday shrug a couple of weeks ago, I really reignited my love for Linen Quill yarn from Purl Soho. It is just such a beautiful yarn, and I have so much of it in my stash because I love it so much, and I use it for a ton of projects, but most specifically the half and half triangles wrap, which if you've been watching for a while, you know that I am absolutely in love with that pattern, and I will continue to make them over and over and over again. But I have a ton of yarn for it, and I showed Eliza the array of colors that I had, and I asked her to pick out 3 colors that she loved the most. The colors she picked out are challenging for me as a parent who does not feel the same way about any of these colors. I think this color is what I'm working with, so I gotta be careful. So Eliza picked out Red Poppy, Mustard Seed, and High Tide. If you've been watching me for a while, you know these are not my colors. Not even close. I'm much more a fan of autumnal colors, and this is not it. This is very primary color, and you know what, but these are what she picked out, and I said, okay, I'm gonna find a way to put these colors in a pretty significant amount. So I want to make sure that the temperature range that I have these colors for have a significant number of rows that I'm going to be using them, so that Eliza can have the 3 that she wants show up in the blanket. So what I did is I took a Google Sheet, and I used a website that I was able to look up a certain month and see every high temperature in that month for 2018 and 2019, because that was the first year of her life, June to June. And so I did that, And then I sorted the numbers from smallest to biggest, and I counted how many. I think I'm doing like a 5 temperature range per color. So 60, I think I'm doing like 60 to 64, 65 to 70, 71 to 75, 76 to 80, like stuff like that. And so I found the numbers. I picked colors that I thought would be really beautiful in a blanket to be the most dominant, and I also made sure that these played a large role as well, since Eliza picked them. And the beginning of the blanket is pretty wild. I did start it, and I love it. I will show you it now. So she was born in the middle of June. So she was born during her hot month. So June, July, and August are pretty hot months for Michigan. I mean, for everywhere besides the Southern Hemisphere, but whatever. This is what it looks like so far. So I decided I'm going to start and end the blanket with flamingo pink, because Eliza also mentioned that she loved flamingo pink because she picked out the three primaries and then also liked the flamingo pink. So I decided I would start and end her blanket with the flamingo pink to denote her birthday. I thought about splitting months with this, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to go straight through without denoting what month is what and just watch the colors change. But denoting birthday, I think, is important. And then I started. So started with June 14th, Eliza's birthday. Oops, it goes this way. So the red poppy is the hottest, and it will be pretty prominent at the beginning of the blanket. And then, so I have red poppy, and then I go to sweet potato. And then I have all of this in a basket I got from Target. It's nothing special. Kiln red. So these are the hottest. And then I'm trying to remember correctly. And then we move into the yellow. So mustard seed is next. There will be a lot of mustard seed and a lot of turmeric yellow. These are the next ones. And then I dropped my blanket. And then from there, I think I go into honey pink and baked earth. And then I will add in raw sienna. And this next little section is the majority of the blanket because I think it's really beautiful. And then we go to, what's this called? Golden green, fresh pickle, juniper green. Oh, I think before that there's also wheat flour and pale oats. And then, I'm missing one of them. That's okay. And then true turquoise, high tide. And then for the coldest days of the year, because there was a polar vortex, and I think the lowest temperature, true temperature, not wind chill, was like negative 16, somewhere in there for the year. So that's going to be denoted with this really beautiful light blue called bird's egg blue. And that is her color palette for this blanket. And I'm really, really happy with it. I am using a Clover Amore hook. These are my favorite. This is a size E, 3.5 millimeters. I really enjoy the way these feel in my hands. It feels very good, and my wrist doesn't get tired when I use them. But yeah, it is coming along. This is a long-term project. I'm hoping to have it done by her 7th birthday next year. So I have a little less than a year to do it. Thought about doing it for Christmas, but I think if I could get it done for either her 7th birthday, so June of next year, or December of 2025, I will be very, very happy. So this is coming to her in 2025 at some point. And I cannot wait to show you how it grows. I probably won't show it every time unless I make some significant progress, because I know that can kind of get boring. But I love it. And I love having a project like this. I love having the yarn in a basket that I can just look at and play with. And it also kind of just acts as a decoration in my house, which I like. I have it situated right by the couch where I sit. Yes, I'm very thrilled with that. And I have a couple more Linen Quill plans. I have 2 right now, which I will talk about once I cast them on, but they're going to be cast on probably this summer or early fall. I might even cast one on. We're going on a little overnight beach trip in the next few weeks to Lake Michigan, which we love very much and haven't gotten to do recently. And I'm thinking about packing one of the projects that I want to cast on, but we'll see. I will talk about this though, because the 2024 Rhinebeck sweater from Andrea Mowry was just released, and I'm not going to Rhinebeck. I just want to make that very clear. But I am so in love with this sweater. The shape of it and the quilt motif, I just think is so special. And actually, I'm gonna hold on. So I inherited this from my grandma, who passed away a couple of years ago, 2 years ago. And one of the last times I was in West Virginia visiting her, she let us all take something and she pulled this quilt out. It's a quilt hanger. Like, it's just supposed to be a wall hanging. And it's so beautiful. And my grandma did all of her quilting by hand. She never used a machine. So it's just very special to have, and she signed it for me, and it's very special to have, and it sits in my living room, and I get to look at it every day. So quilts mean a lot to me. Also, my other grandma crocheted, so it's nice to have have a piece of both my grandmas on my needles. And so this is just perfect. This is very much my colors. This is what I love to look at. And I drew inspiration from this quilt to pick my colors for the framed sweater by Andrea Mowry, because it is so beautiful and I just could not get it out of my mind. So think about these colors, specifically these colors, and I will show you what I have come up with. So when the pattern was released, I was like, oh, this is great. I have 4 skeins of Dreamstate, the worsted weight Spincycle in Ghost Ranch, which is a very popular color. I had a plan to make a different sweater with it. I don't know if that's what I'm gonna do, but I was like, oh, I have that in my stash. Great. Maybe all I have to do is buy a contrast color. And then I also spoke to a tester of this, and they mentioned how heavy the sweater, like the physical sweater, is. And I don't love a very heavy worsted weight sweater. If it's worsted weight, I want it to be lighter and use woolen spun yarn instead of worsted spun yarn, because there's more air and it's just not as heavy. So I was like, oh, I love using Spincycle and rerum natura together. And I had some in my stash. So I have ulysse in my stash, which is the worsted weight, not the worsted weight, the fingering weight. This is Poivre Blanc. This is my favorite color. I will knit a million sweaters in this. I'm planning a sweater for Doug in this color because I think he'll really like it as well. And I was like, oh, I have this. I'll hold this double. And I put it with my Ghost Ranch, and I was like, well, what if it bleeds a little bit? What if what color would I use as the contrast up top? I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then I looked at my stash and I found a skein of Pale September on Dreamstate. So I bought this when this first came out because this is my perfect Spincycle colorway. Pale September is a shop exclusive for La Mercerie on Bainbridge Island in Washington. And I purchased this. I got the newsletter announcing its release, and I immediately bought a couple of skeins of the Dyed in the Wool, which I'm using for a pressed flowers cardigan. And I bought one skein just to see what it looked like on Dreamstate because I love it so much. So this is the skein I already had in my stash. And I was like, you know what? Let me go see if La Mercerie has any in stock. And they did. And I made a note, I requested more peachy pink skeins of Dreamstate, and they totally delivered. It's perfect. So these are the skeins that came today from Shop La Mercerie, and this is the one I had in my stash, and I think this is perfect. So I have my Dreamstate, and I also ordered a skein of Gilliat, rerum natura Gilliat, and it's in this colorway that I haven't seen in person, and sometimes Ravelry pictures don't do colors justice, so this color was coming across kind of pumpkin-y, kind of red in some of the project photos. And I was like, I like pumpkin and I like red, so if I don't like this color for the sweater, I will just knit a hat out of it. So I just ordered one skein for right now. This is the, I am gonna butcher this, Erable colorway. So this is going to be my main body color. I think it's color B or C in the pattern, one of the two. And this is going to be paired up with my Spincycle. And this is going to be the main bits of the sweater. I'm losing my mind a little bit. And then the neckline, the cuffs, and the hem are going to be this. So these are going to be framed by Poivre Blanc. And I think this is going to be my favorite sweater I've ever made. I'm so excited. I'm planning to make it one repeat longer to wear it with pants because that's mostly what I wear. And I'm just so happy that it's inspired by this quilt. It's a quilt motif, and I can't wait. I actually might cast this on today because I want to see what it looks like all together. And then I just need to order, I think, 2 more skeins of this. And I'm just gonna hold my ulysse double because I have an entire sweater quantity of it. So I'm just gonna hold it double for everything else, and it comes out about the same. I have not been so excited for an Andrea Mowry pattern in a really long time. This one just absolutely sings. I am loving everybody's combinations. I'm loving the personality everybody is putting into this pattern. And I cannot wait to see everybody's version of this. I know people are just doing solid colors. Some people are using variegated colors for the quilt. Some people are using scraps. So it's gonna be very scrappy. And I am just so excited to see what people do. And people are using stash or buying yarn. So I'm doing kind of a hybrid of both. And I cannot wait. I am a huge fan of Gilliat and ulysse paired with Spincycle, and it also helps. It's a little bit more affordable, skein wise and yardage wise. So that's a highlight to me. And I just cannot wait. It's gonna be, I think I'm gonna cast it on today. Oh, yeah. I need to get a nice bag for it. Not get a nice bag, I need to go into my little bag of bags and pick a bag that I want to use for this. But I I am going to lose my mind. I am so excited. So one of the tips that Andrea gave for picking your color is to pick a Spincycle that you love. Hello. Or a color that you love that you want to be featured in the pattern. And then pair something with high contrast. And then pick a color from in here to put on top. So this isn't exactly in there, but I thought that'd be too much pink if I added some pink. And I really wanted it to feel like the wall hanging that has the cream border. I don't know. It all makes sense in my head. It might look terrible, but I really think it's going to be something special. And so I'm going to actually go cast this on while this is uploading. I do want to mention that there's going to be a couple of Stress Knits yarn releases in the next few months. So first right now is a pre-order for the Autumn Florals collection. It is 6 mini skeins. It is a mystery, but I showed my inspiration in the listing as well as on Instagram stories. I say this a lot, but this is just right up my alley. Coppery pink tones. It's going to be really something. So if that's something you're into, if you're a mini skein person, I would love if you checked that out. And then sometime probably in August, I'm currently working on developing a colorway for this. But for those of you who don't know, my daughter is autistic, and there is a wonderful organization called the Autism Alliance of Michigan that puts on a walk at the Detroit Zoo every year. And I think it's called a hero walk because it's a superhero theme. And Eliza's ABA Center does a group with it. So we'll be there. And I want to donate to this cause. It gives people resources that are just so hard to figure out on your own. They're wonderful. There's classes, there's, again, resources. They're super helpful, and they're also just pushing for a world that's not made for these kids to be more loving and forgiving and helpful. And as a parent of a kid with autism, that's really important to me. So I want to do a fundraiser, and I'm currently developing a colorway based on Eliza, something that she did for the first couple of years of her life, where she would she still does. She'll have a container, like a box or something, a bucket, and she'll just collect things. So I think it's going to be called Treasures, and it's good. I have some stuff developing right now, so that's coming. And then I am thinking about, I don't know if it's going to happen. It's going to depend on how the school year goes, because I'm starting to be in the throes of registration for the next school year. It's my job, my full daytime job. That's what I do. And I have this idea for a small holiday collection. It's not going to be a countdown calendar. That's too much work. It's too much. But I'm thinking about something a little bit smaller that's holiday-ish. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested, let me know. Because I'm also developing colors for that as well. It's been so much fun to just develop colors and play around. I feel like I haven't been able to do that in a long time, and that's my favorite part of dyeing yarn, is creating new colorways and bringing them into the world. So those are some things on the horizon. Again, Autumn Florals in the shop now. I think I'm going to take it down Sunday night, Monday morning, somewhere in there. Unless I hit capacity. I don't imagine I'll hit capacity. I don't imagine. I put quite a lot of listings in there, which is the capacity that I feel comfortable dyeing up and promising by a certain date. Those will ship in August, I think the end of August. So yeah, I'm really excited and I'm gonna go cast this on. So I will see you soon. Let me know what you're working on. Are you gonna knit a framed sweater? Do you have your colorways picked out? Because again, I could talk about color all day, every day. So I will see you soon. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.